Welcome back. In the previous step, we populated some data for our student course many-to-many relationship, and also we were able to write a query and get all the details of the students and the associated courses. In this step, let's focus on how to do that using JPA. As usual, let's go to our unit test. I'll go to the student repository test. Actually, I can use either the student repository test or the course repository test for doing this. Let's go and use the student repository test because that's the owning side. And I'll copy the previous test that we wrote. Let's start with calling this retrieve student and courses. Let's start with the student first and try to retrieve his courses. So what we want to do is to retrieve the student first. Student is equal to em.find. I'll use the entity manager as a shortcut, and the primary key of the student I would want to retrieve. Let's pick a student. I would try and get the courses that Ranga is doing. So let's use 20,001, 20,000L, and what I would want to first print is the student. So student and student, and after that I would want to print his courses. Student dot get courses, and let's remove this out, and as usual let's start with a debug point and do a debug. Right click, debug as JUnit test. Cool, I'm ready to debug it right now, and I'll go to the console. I'll remove all that which is present in here. Now I'm trying to find the student. I'll remove this line which is present in here because I have to change a lot of stuff in there. So I would want to get the student first. Student is equal to, I can use the student repository to get it. I'll take the shortcut and I'll use the entity manager directly. So I'll say student.class, and the primary key, which student do we want to retrieve? Let's get Ranga. Ranga has 2 courses, so I would want to get Ranga details and the details of his courses. ID of Ranga is 20,001. So let's take that up and say 20,000 L. Now first what we'll do is we'll print the details of the student. That's done. And next we'll print the details of his courses. So student.get courses, and this is courses. What we'll do is we'll put a debug point in here and see what would happen when I run this. So I'll launch this test up, retrieve student and courses, or you could have launched it by doing a right click, run as JUnit in here. Clear out the console and do a function F6 to execute the find on the student. So you can see that the find on the student executes only the student query. So it's doing a select star from student where a specific ID is this. So for 20,000, it's trying to get the student details. Actually, I got the ID wrong. It should have been 20,001. So this would return null back and it will throw an exception. So let's do a function F8, kill this very quickly. And let's change this to 20,001 and do a debug of it again. I'll go to the console. I'll remove everything. Function F6. This will execute this student query. Now you can see that a few student details are being retrieved. Ranga and his details are being retrieved. Let's print that to the log. Now you can see Ranga's details are printed in the log as well. Let's clear the console out and execute the next statement, function F6. So I'm trying to get the courses for Ranga. What query is being fired? You can see that the query that is being fired is a join of the student with the course. So we are joining the student with the course, and we are trying to get the details of the courses that are associated with Ranga. So these are the 2 courses that are being printed out. That's cool. And I do a function F8 to complete execution and terminate the whole thing. That's cool. So we are now able to retrieve a student and get his courses. One of the important things that you have already observed is the fact that by default, this relationship is using a lazy fetch. So when I am fetching the details of the student, the details of the course are not being fetched because many-to-many relationships are by default using a lazy fetch. If you would want, actually you can make this a eager fetch relationship as well. So I'm saying many-to-many fetch type is equal to eager. So what would happen when I fetch a student? His courses would also be retrieved along with it. Let's see what would happen. I'll directly run this. So right click, run. And in the log, you'll be able to see that this is actually doing not just retrieve from the student. So the first query itself, when we are trying to retrieve the student details, so is actually doing a left outer join. So it's doing a it's trying to retrieve the student and all his courses. So when I'm trying to do a retrieve on the student, directly it's retrieving all the courses as well. So this is an eager fetch. I would not really recommend you to do this on a many-to-many relationship. So I will immediately remove the fetch which is present in here. I just wanted to illustrate the fact that if you want to get student and all his courses at one time, then you can directly add a eager fetch on the many-to-many. Those are a couple of important things that you need to note when we are retrieving the student and the courses. I would leave it as an exercise for you to be able to create a corresponding test to retrieve a course and also the students associated with a course. So all that you need to do is to do embed entity manager.find course.class and give the course ID, and you need to print the students that are associated with that specific course. One of the things you can also try and play around is the definition of eager fetch on the course side as well. In this step, we were focused on retrieving the details of a student and the course. In the next step, we will shift our attention to inserting a student, inserting a course, and inserting a relationship between the student and the course. Until then, bye-bye.